All right, guys, welcome to Ignite. Elements Session 6, Making and Receiving Offers. Again, this is such a powerful, power-packed session because now we're working on your business, not just how to grow your business, but working on your business. And one of the things that we do with me being able to provide this information to you is we're going to take it to a mastery level conversation. And whether you're new in real estate or been in real estate forever, I think you're going to appreciate the level of the conversation that we're having it at, rather than just kind of reading through the material. Let's talk about some real world stuff, how you can really truly get offers accepted, make your best offer first. I mean, these are any story I share with you has been tweaked and improved until it gets predictable results every time. And understand that the laboratory where I've created, where I personally tweak and test stuff, is one, my real estate business is my laboratory, selling 100 homes a year for over 20 years. But two, it's coaching clients. Like through MAPS coaching, when I coached the top real estate agents, we would bring these same things. Most of the stuff that I bring to my laboratory, my team, is from a coaching client, something that they're working on, wanting to figure out. And so I would bring it into my team and apply the same thing, figure out what worked, figure out what didn't work. So today we're basically talking about offers. You're showing houses, getting your buyers, like in this current market, but it really would be any market. But in this current market, is being able to write less offers and get more accepted versus settling for maybe writing 3 or 4 or 5, and in some cases in this current market, 10 offers and not winning any of them. It's about, and everything comes back to what we originally started with in the Spark sessions on your value proposition, your goals, all that stuff that we set up in the very beginning. And clear up to 2 or 3 sessions ago, I think it's like elements 3 or 4 or 4 or 5, something like that. It's got to be at least 3 or 4, where it was buyer consultations and getting them to commit to use you. But all that comes back to value, comes back to what is your value proposition. And when you earn the trust from your clients, that's when they're going to listen to you more and make better offers. So today we're kind of going through just the offer part of it, right? Just looking at my notes here to see what I wanted to cover with you guys. Don't know what that note says. It's funny when you can't even read your own writing. Okay, well, so we're going to talk about showing houses and negotiating contracts and all the different ways that you can make your offers stronger, get your buyers to make their best offers first, and a whole lot of other stuff, right? Okay, so let's jump into it here. So this is on the offer process. When you just kind of look at what the offer process is, it's, the buyer makes an offer, right? And you get that to the seller, and the seller responds in some way. Make this a little bigger on this screen so I can see it better. There you go. The seller responds to that offer, and they respond to it in several different ways. And before I even just say what these 3 ways are, know that as you work on your scripts, remember we've got the Elements script book, and you got the Spark script book. So as you're writing offers and you're giving that offer to the seller, if they counter the offer, find scripts in those books that deal with countering the offer. How do you still get your best offer, and or the scripts on how to explain the counter offer to your buyer, right? They can accept the offer, okay? That you don't really need a script for that, other than the script to call the buyer to let them know that if they're your buyer, that your offer got accepted, right? And there is a script for that. I'll give you a free one right here. This is a fun script. It's like you call the buyer and you're like, hey, I just got word on the offer that we submitted yesterday or earlier today. And they're like, yeah, what is it? It's like, well, are you sitting down or are you standing up? And this is a fun script because whether they're sitting down or standing up, if they were sitting down, you say, well, you better stand up for this one. Oh no, what happened? And if they're sitting down or if they're standing up, you say, well, you better sit down for this one. Oh no, what happened? So it kind of builds a little bit in there. And then you say, are you standing? Yep. All right. They took your offer. And you can celebrate, right? So it makes it sound like you get them all worked up a little bit and have fun with it, right? And then if the seller rejects an offer, a seller can reject an offer. And man, I mean, here's your script on that. It's calling the agent going, hey, I just got a rejection on the offer. I mean, did you have other offers? Because usually they won't reject it. You don't get accepted, right? They usually don't send a rejection. But was I the only offer that was presented? Yeah, but he was really offended by blah, 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 blah. Well, the script on that is literally like, well, you guys don't have any other offers? No. Okay, then an offer is better than no offer. And to be honest with you, if your seller really wants to sell, they can't sell if they reject our offer. I mean, if anything, if my buyers really tick them off, now this is what I would only say if I knew that they weren't going to take it anyway. Like whatever reason, the seller's not motivated, or he really did get ticked off at the offer or whatever, I'd say, if anything, just bring me back a ridiculous counter offer just so I can take something back. Then it's on my buyer, right? But without even any kind of counter offer at all, your seller can't sell the house. We're done. It's dead in the water. If you don't have another offer, send me one back. Just send back the terms that you want it to be in it, and then put that back on me to go to my buyer, talk to my buyer about that. So that is another thing that I want to talk about to set the stage for today, at least when I'm sharing offers, right? Negotiating offers, getting your best offer first, all that stuff. I will tell you that no matter who you're representing, whether it's the seller or whether it's the buyer, I've got a hat on. If I'm representing a buyer in this case, right, we're writing an offer and it gets submitted to the seller. So I'll have my buyer hat on, my buyer representation hat. I'm representing and working for the buyer. So I will present everything through to get, let's just say you submit your offer, right, and they're going to counter offer and or they're going to reject it. I already told you on the rejection part that, hey, you can't sell your house without sending something back, right? So then I get the counter offer and they send a ridiculous counter offer. So I got my buyer hat on, right? That offer comes back to us and it could be a ridiculous counter offer. But here is where you got to take off the buyer hat, and not that you put on a seller representation hat, but you actually have to sell this offer to your buyer and convince them this is the best deal they're going to get for the house. Doesn't mean that you won't come back and counter again if it's too far off. Either they're just not going to buy it and they're going to decide that, not me. Or secondly, we're going to bring another counter offer back. Or thirdly, which is the one that's going to guarantee a sale right now and commission in your pocket, you can still represent the buyer, but you have to show them the benefits of what this counter offer is. And you have to share it in a way that this is the best counter offer that they're going to get. And without this counter offer, they're not going to have the house. So that's the thoughts in your mind. That's not the words that you share with the buyer, but what you are saying is, how bad do you guys want this house, right? And if they said, we want this house so bad, Brad, we do not want to lose this house, then my conversation with them is, so we have a counter offer, and whether or not they like it or don't like it doesn't matter. We have a counter offer. And if you absolutely want to make sure you do not lose this house, all you have to do is agree to these terms in this counter offer. And if you sign it, we are on to the next step and the house is locked up and it's yours, right? There's still some loopholes where it could not go through, maybe a short appraisal or the inspections come back and there's more wrong with the house than what they want, whatever that might be. But if you sign this counter offer, the house is yours. So if they say we do not want to lose this house for anything, then I need to show them why signing the counteroffer is the best way to do that. Now, if they like, oh, what? They countered back all to full price? You know, it's been on the market for 60 days. It's like, listen, if you sign this, it's yours. Okay. If you don't like the terms and you want a counter offer, we can write that up. And believe me, I'm going to take off my hat again and put on the other hat and sell this to that seller or the seller's agent. Like, this is the absolute best deal they're going to get. I have to show the benefits to whichever party. It's not an adversarial thing, and it's not a me against you kind of thing. It is when my buyer brings a counter offer back or an offer, it's like I'm partnering up with the listing agent, and we're partners on getting this deal sold and put together. So I have to show them and tell them the words that I want them to have with their client, that this is the best offer they're going to get, or this is the best counter offer. Now, if we're in the scenario I'm talking about where you submit the offer and they bring a counter offer back and your buyer doesn't want to lose the house, but let's just say they counter. Yeah, we really got to bring that price back down, that we're just not comfortable there. So if the seller rejects that and you don't get the house, are you okay with that? That is a script, by the way. Are you okay if you don't get the house? Because if you counter offer and they don't take it, and or another offer comes in that's better, or another offer comes in that they take, right? That's just got better terms, or whatever the situation may be. It might not even be better terms, but they take that offer instead. Are you going to be okay not getting this house? That is a very, very safe script. It is very, very well tested so that you are not the reason why they didn't get the house. And that you will be the reason people don't get the house most of the time. Right? So I'm taking off the hat to sell the offer to whichever side of the table I'm on, even though I'm representing the buyer. But I'm going to act like I'm working for the seller, and I got to convince the agent on the term, on the language and conversation I want them to have with their client to convince them this is the best offer they're going to have. And then that comes down to either negotiation, start the closing process, or the buyer's agent contacts the listing agent to learn why they didn't take the offer. Does that all make sense? So can't sell it if you don't reject it. Are you going to be okay losing out on this house if? Because anytime you send a counter offer back out, you have opened the door for them to sell it to anybody else. And don't ever fall for the trick like, well, they haven't had an offer in 265 days. Well, guess what? The other offer is all of a sudden there's some red light that goes off up in the sky by the sun, kind of, that tells everybody in the world that this house is about to sell, and offers show up out of nowhere. So anytime your client, whether it's a seller sending a counter offer back, if you're working for a seller and they want to counter, say, now, are you okay if the buyer walks? Are you going to be okay if your house doesn't sell? Because if you counter any part of this offer, you've opened up the door for them to move on it, to walk, right? And when I say that, you have to know that they could have a second favorite house, or another house will probably hit the market today that's even nicer, maybe even better, underpriced or something, that anytime a counteroffer goes out, the other party can bail. So the party doing the counter offering needs to know, are you okay not getting or not selling this property? Because when you counter, whatever you counter, you've opened up the door to lose the buyer or lose the seller. Seller can sell to another buyer, whichever side of the table you're on, right? So I hope you guys are getting that you have to sell the benefits. And I will tell you that one conversation right there really prevents little piddly counter offers, right? So let's just say they're like, it's $1,000 less than what we really wanted. It's like, is $1,000 worth losing the buyer over, right? And if they say even a bigger number, so I might say, let's say they want to counter $10,000. I might go with that net sheet being $5,000 higher and go, so let's just say if they were netting $100,000, right, on the net sheet. So whatever the sale price is, they're netting $100,000, and they say, we want to counter $10,000. So that means they want to net $110,000, right? So I might say, so just to be clear, if we're going to counter, you're not okay. You wouldn't sell the house for $100,000, And if they say, no, we said we wouldn't sell for 100, then I know I'm going to counter something. But if they say, well, I mean, 100 would be nice, but we just don't want to give the house away. Now, can you see I'm going to roll into the conversation of, well, just know that if you have 100, you have 100,000 right now. If you sign this offer the way it is, Mr. Seller, you've sold your house, and you will get a check for a net check of about $100,000 according to this estimated net sheet, right? So you got 100,000 in your hand right now. Are you willing to risk that? Because whatever we counter, if they just change their mind because you were second favorite and they've got a first favorite, or another house comes on the market and they walk, you can't be kicking yourself that you didn't take it. So a lot of times, if the 100,000 would work, they'll be like, oh, let us talk about this a little bit more. But if they were like, no, we will not sell for 100,000, we won't. So let's counter 10,000. We want to get 110. I would say something like, so just to be clear, there's your opening statement. So just to be clear, if you could sell it for 100 and make 105,000, you wouldn't sell the house and net 105. You will only net 110, or you won't sell the house. Is that what I'm hearing? Well, no, I mean, 105 would be good. It's like, all right, so let's talk about how much to counter then, because anything we send back gives them the opportunity to get out of the transaction. Do you see where this is going? Man, I hope this is helping. Like, I hope we're like in the first 10 minutes of the call here, and you just have some of the most powerful, simple scripts right there to really control the transaction, to pull your buyer or your seller out of the emotion of the transaction and really think about what they're doing here, right? So this is in the preparing the offer. So in command, again, we're not going to necessarily have an hour on going into command, finding this. I hope that you will, right after this call, you're going to click on command, open up command, go into command, and find this in command. But it's a checklist on preparing to write your offer. It's on page 3 of your participant guide for this session, right? There's a toolkit link that you can download a lot of extra tools in here. Okay, so the big thing here that I want to make sure I cover is that on building rapport with the listing agent, if you're representing the buyer, a lot of this session is coming from the buyer side, but I wanted you to see how the conversations can be the same on buyer and seller side, right? But it's important that you have rapport with the agent. Agents in your marketplace, man, every time you meet a real estate agent in your market, drop them a note in the mail. I mean, we have extra benefits in Keller Williams through our profit sharing program that if you are friends with agents in your marketplace and they have a bad situation happen at their company and they leave and they come over and you're the one that stayed in touch with them, doesn't matter how long you've been in real estate. If you're brand new and you show one of my properties and you call me up and talk to me and ask me how many showings have I had and you're showing it today and all that stuff, and I tell you all that stuff, right, whatever the information is, and then I get a handwritten note from you in the mail the next day, says, so great for the opportunity to possibly work together. Thanks for taking my call and answering questions about the listing that you had or whatever that I showed. I would drop that note in the mail. And then that agent would probably go in my database. Probably it would go in mine. It probably will go in yours, but it should go in yours, and schedule another call for like a month from now, just to call and check in and go, hey, it's Brad or Susie or whoever you are, right? Just call in, see if did you get that property sold? Now you could look on MLS and see if it's sold. But it's like, yeah, it's sold, blah, blah. So I was just saying, thank you so much. I really appreciated your quick response and answering questions. And I mean, it's always great to meet nice, good professional agents in this market. Man, I mean, stroke their ego a little bit, sure. But the next time you're showing that agent's house, building rapport is already in place. They're going to remember who you are. They've gotten a handwritten note from you, right? Send them an email. This is with a link to Wealth Building Friday, right? With Mark King was on Facebook Live today. So that recording's on there, and it's talking about the market conditions and how to get out of your comfort zone. That's something you can share with any agent. So I'll take ideas from a conference and put that into my drip plan for the year, or everybody that I meet at a conference, especially if you have a local thing at your board of realtors. Take good notes and some of the slides, catch a picture, whatever. Use that as your drip piece out to the other agents at other companies or that you co-op with, and make it your little training drip plan on, hey, I was just reviewing my notes and thought I'd share this with you. So I've been doing that with agents in this market, sharing from masterminds that we went in Nashville. That's why we didn't have our call the other day. One of our sessions got bumped back, right? Because I was in Nashville at masterminds networking. And so now I'm sending those networking notes to local agents, sharing, hey, I was just at a top agent mastermind, and here were some of the topics that we talked about. So in fact, if you guys want those, just let me know. Say, hey, I'd love to see those notes, right? So always talk from getting your buyers and sellers together. Talk about the word, let's talk about the word co-op, right? You're a co-op agent. Co-op is cooperative, meaning you work together to put a deal together. So try to avoid being an adversarial agent. Even just talking nasty to other agents is going to come back and bite you later on. Because if they remember you being a jerk, how you provide feedback, if you provide jerky feedback and nasty feedback that their clients are going to see and makes them look bad, this is not going to be good for you if you co-op with this person again. They're going to remember you. So that's one of the things on our team, is talking with buyers agents to make sure that you're, as frustrating as some of the other agents can be in your marketplace, you don't want to lay into them. You don't want to sound bossy, rude, mean, or telling them the truth that they probably need to hear. Sometimes you're going to have to soften that up because it's for future deals when you're building rapport to get your offer accepted, right? Let's see. I always get info, leave the buyer option open. Okay, so you don't want to come, like on your checklist when you're sending an offer over, you don't want it to sound like this is their dream home, like they love this house, oh my gosh, they gotta have it. That would give away some of your negotiating power and some of your ways that you're going to need to be able to put this offer together later on, while you're convincing the other side that this is the best deal they're going to get. You don't want to give away any of your cards that, well, this is their dream home, so we know we can counter $10,000. Because I will tell you, with that information, if you're representing your buyer and you're presenting an offer and you tell me how much they love it and their parents live next door and they've got to get this house, well, as a listing agent, I'm not saying me personally, but it does work this way, that if I'm representing my client and I am working to get them the most money possible in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of inconvenience, right? Most money possible. You just told me that they'll probably pay $5,000 more for this house. I mean, that they have to have this house. So that could be a counteroffer that would come back and maybe even take out some of the things, like maybe if it was to buy it as is or something like that. It's like, listen, I think the sellers would probably agree to work. They will take this offer because your people want it so bad, but here's the terms that it would need to be. And, they'll make it work and they'll get the house. So now that's a counter offer, right? But knowing that if love, and they make an okay offer, and it's not asking price, and or they're asking for things in the offer, you can, again, in this situation that I'm talking about, I would tell my seller, so the information I have from the other side is this is their dream home. They're going to buy this house. They're going to do it under whatever terms we send back. But just know, here's your net. Your house is sold if you sign this offer the way it is, and that's what you're going to get. However, if you were to change any of the terms and counter, you're probably still going to get that too if it's not too out of line. That's how bad they want the house. But if you counter, you do open up the door of opportunity that they would walk. So I only want you to do that if you feel like you need to do that or want to do that. So again, it's not me making those decisions or telling them, you should counter. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can get $10,000 more. I need them to understand that they can. The house is sold right now if they stick with this offer the way it is. All right. We don't see any questions. So on your checklist, so we already got that. Creating an offer in command. So when you're writing the offer, you've got your checklist that you can go through in command that'll tell you what you need to do, and then creating the offer in command. Guys, this is so easy. And if you're using command, it's even it's super easy, because once you get your contact record in there, once your contact record is in there, you're just clicking opportunity, and it creates your folders for you and everything. So I actually love the whole command thing. I was trying to move something around here. I love putting them in command, going to opportunities, clicking that it's a buyer that's getting ready to buy a house, and it dumps all the forms in and creates the .loop or DocuSign folder. And then I just go to the folder and it sets it all up. Many times, if you have preset folders, it may even dump a lot of the templated documents in your folder as well. But even if you had them templates saved in there, your residential real estate contract and whatever else you have in there that you need, legal descriptions or lead-based paint forms or any of that kind of stuff, you can dump into that folder. And once you put the buyers and the sellers' names all in there attached to that folder, it will dump in the address and the buyer's names and the seller's names and all that. So do play around with it a little bit. You can probably create a folder for yourself and play around with that, right? Or even your mom or your dad or a relative to go in and set up a folder and dump the documents in and fill it in and just make it right like you're writing a mock contract, because you can archive the file and do whatever you want after that. Okay, so that's through command. You get your people in your database and you go to opportunity to create that opportunity. All right, so offer writing guidelines. So now we'll go through some other stuff, just real things that, at least that I've used in my real estate business to write offers. So you got this cover letter. Now I do know throughout the country, there are some things changing with what they call love letters, where they're talking about how much people love the house or how lovely this couple is and all that other stuff. In my cover letters, they're a lot like this one, where it's more of a fact letter. I don't think there's anything wrong with a fact letter explaining the terms or overviewing the contract. The only thing that I would add there is that if you're saying it's an FHA loan, right? If it's an FHA government loan, then you're going to sell in that letter to the seller, hoping that they can read this letter if their agent gives them the letter. And or if the agent reads the letter, you're giving them the verbiage that you want them to tell their client about this FHA loan, about why the FHA is better than any other offer that's out there. So if you're up against a cash offer, you're up against a conventional offer, conventional loan, right? Those are better than FHA. However, what you might need to talk about in that FHA part is their first-time home buyers that the lender that we're using has over 30 years experience. He knows the FHA guidelines inside and out. And this FHA buyer may be stronger than a conventional buyer that you have where they didn't fill in the contract completely, or the agent doesn't know what they're doing, or the lender doesn't, know their job well. So you might even put, there are plenty of offers that get delayed, fall apart, all this stuff right before closing. And this particular FHA buyer is going to be solid because of the lender we're using. So that might be in my fact letter because I got to sell this FHA, right? I need them to pick this offer. I want to win. But you can also talk about if your buyer's non-contingent, right? Spell that out, say the difference with this offer versus other offers you may be reviewing is that somebody may have a home to sell, or it's contingent upon their house closing. So this offer is not contingent upon another property closing. The buyers already have the money they need for their down payment closing costs in the bank. and they are fully pre-approved through the lender we use, who's experienced. So that's going to show them that if there is a contingent offer sitting in front of us, that we're more solid. So it's a fact letter or cover letter. Earnest money. So if I knew I was up against other offers, I'm going to have a discussion with my buyer to say, we know for a fact there are other offers. If the agent told you how many, you can tell them there's 4 other offers, right? And you can tell them that the agent said that they were very emphasized strong offers. So that tells me they're probably over asking. So when we're discussing this, and a buyer's like really looking at you like, how much should we offer? Well, there's 4 offers. The agent said they were very strong offers. So they're probably over asking is what I would guess, right? Because I don't know. So I'm not going to make a statement, but I'm saying I would guess they're probably over, wouldn't you? Same thing, right? If you would guess, then say you would guess and say, so, 10,000 over asking price in a situation like this, I mean, might be less than 50% chance, maybe a less than 50% chance that you would win the house, right? If you go 20,000 over asking, he did say very strong. So depending on where your offers come in and how much over they typically are, in my market, 20,000 over would probably be, if I had to guess, maybe a 75% chance you win the house, or still the 25% chance somebody went crazy, offered more, or as a cash offer, we're still conventional, even though I'm going to sell that, right? Let's see if I'm on that. Okay, yeah, I'll leave it here. So that might be a 75%. And if you go 30,000 over, I mean, again, it's not 100% chance because this market's so unpredictable, but you probably have like a 90% chance. And I'm going 30,000 over asking prices. I'm just telling you what it is when there's 4 offers on the table and they're very strong offers. Everything I just said is real, right? So they may or may not decide to write something on that. But in those cases, when we are up against other offers, I will do stuff like, how do we make it better, just better than what anybody was thinking? So if somebody says, well, how much earnest money should we put down? I don't know what your earnest money situations are. If you guys do 1% of the purchase price or whatever, just to say it's $1,000, right? So if most people do $1,000 or 1%, then you can say, since you have the money in the bank, we could go 2% or 3%. Or $2,000 or $3,000 on our earnest money and make your offer look stronger. I mean, you're not going to lose the earnest money unless you just change your mind and don't show up for closing, right? We got plenty of loopholes to get you out, but that would make your offer stronger. And they're like, oh yeah, we like that, right? And then, so down payment or earnest money, and then whatever they're putting down as well. But those are all things that you can put in your favor. Do we want to ask for a warranty plan? Do we want to ask for closing costs? So maybe if you are, I mean, again, in a competing bid offer, if they have the money, then you're going to want them to cover their own closing costs. You're just not going to be able to ask for the world and expect to beat out 4 other offers when it's a very strong situation. Now, if you ask the agent before you ever show the house, do you have any offers? And they said no. How's your traffic been on it? You ask that every single time you go show it. How's your traffic been? And do you have any other offers? And they say traffic's been a little slow and we don't have any other offers. Well, I'm not going to have the 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 conversation, right? I'm going to ask them what they want to offer. And then when they write that offer, they're writing that offer, or the buyer offer objections or objectives, right? I think it said objections on writing the offer could be, well, we don't want to pay too much for the house. What if we come in just a little bit under asking price? Here's a great script to make sure you get the best offer first. Is just say, so what are you thinking? Let's just say it's a $300,000 house. Well, maybe like start at 290. And it's like, okay, so if we start at 290 and I'll write 290 on the offer. Now, if we drop this offer off and another offer does show up on the house and it's 300, are you going to be okay missing out on the house? Because they'll probably go with the 300 over the 290. Oh, well, no, we pay 300. Okay, let's just cross it out. Let's put 300 on there. Now, if we drop this offer off and another offer comes in at 305 and they win the house, are you going to be okay not getting the house? One of them will probably be okay. One of them will not be okay. They'll be like, we better not lose the house over $5,000. I'll cross it out, right? 305. Let me just ask again, just to be clear. If another offer came in after I dropped this off and another offer came in at 307 or 306, for example, right? 306 or 307 and they win the house, are you going to be okay losing out on this house? And I'll have that conversation with the buyer. I'm representing the buyer, right? But I don't want them to miss out on the house over $5,000. So how I get their best offer on the table first, that will remove me from being the responsibility if they don't get the house, because now they own it. And they say, no, we do not want to pay 306. We're already kind of higher. We want it 305, but we don't want to lose the house. Okay. So if an offer comes in any higher, we miss it on that, you're not going to be regretting it. Well, no, we'd hate to lose out on it, but no, we won't regret it. So I just saved like that one script right there. Get your best offers first, and it gets you off the hook if it doesn't get accepted. I mean, guys, that right there was worth 100 times more than the price you paid to be in this session right now, listening to it, right? 1,000 times more. Big money right there. All right. So in presenting the offer, get caught up in my notes here, make sure I don't miss anything. Presenting offers, notifying the agent of the incoming offer. Now I use this very strategically. I don't want to give them too much time to find other offers, because that's what I would do. I mean, if somebody says, hey, I'm sending you an offer tomorrow morning, man, as the seller representative, I've got to call all the other agents that have shown the property and say, hey, an offer's coming in tomorrow morning, right? So here's a great script when you call the agent. Listen to this script and write it down, guys. This is huge. You say, I'm working on getting my buyer to write an offer on this property. It's one of their favorites. It's made the top list, right? And so if there's any information you can give me to help me kind of kick them over the top and write an offer on this one, that would be great, right? And or you can also say, and if I get them to write an offer, when would you be able to present a great offer? If you got a great offer, when would you be able to present it to your seller? Because now they're do you guys hear that? If I'm calling you, it's like, hey, I've got this couple, they really like the house. I'm working on getting them to write an offer so you can sell the house. Well, we got 3 other offers. Great. So if you get a really great offer and I can convince them to go ahead and write something up and throw their hat in the ring, when would you be able to present these offers to the seller? And they say, oh, well, we're not presenting them till Sunday, right? Today's Friday, for example. I'm not going to send my offer in today. But I will. You have to be careful here too, because if they got some offer that's $50,000 over asking price and they go ahead and present that offer tomorrow, my buyer could miss out. So I do say, is there any type of offer that if it showed up before Sunday, you might present before Sunday? And if they say seller's out of town, they don't even want to look at the offers till Sunday, say, well, if I get my buyer to do something, or once I write this offer, if I get them to write something, would you be able to keep me in the loop so that I can make sure I get them, make sure they know they're going to miss out on it if you're going to present early? Because I think they're going to write a pretty good offer. They're going to write a strong offer when they write. So if you decide to present earlier, will you be sure to let me know? And if I can just even have, an hour to get it put together, I'll get it over to you right away. They're probably going to say yes, right? And I'll probably call them in between if I don't trust that they would wait till Sunday. But what I'm finding out is, when are they going to present so that I can put an expiration time on my offer? And I still got to give them, 8 hours or something like that day to get an offer in. I might send it late at night, 11 or 12 o'clock p.m. and give them till 2 p.m. to respond if they said they were going to meet the seller early afternoon. So I might send it late at night so they have it first thing in the morning. If they knew they were going to present if they were meeting the seller at 2 o'clock tomorrow, just to review any offers that we have, great. So I might send that overnight in the middle of the night so they don't have time to contact a whole bunch of agents, and it would be expiring at 2 o'clock. And I'd put a note with it that said, hey, you mentioned that you were meeting with seller at 2. So I went ahead and put a 2 o'clock expiration or 3 o'clock expiration on here. Sending the offer to the agent. So that's another way. Setting the deadline. That's how I get all that information out of there, right? I will tell you that if you want your offer to be even stronger, not only just with the cover letter explaining the strength of your offer, but also fill it all in. Fill in every blank. Don't leave anything unmarked. Do not make the offer messy. Do not let the agent have an interpretation that you are lazy and that you don't fill everything in. Don't provide all the forms you need. The more form, if you do everything as accurate as possible, just pull out your checklist that your office needs for you to get paid, and you make that your standard. You will put that in, fill in every blank, check every box. If you get in trouble for not checking a box on your compliance, or you always leave this one line blank, that needs to be filled in when you submit the offer. Make your offer strong and show the agent that you are competent and that you're strong and that you're clean and you're not going to be messy and they're not dealing with a new agent, right? Okay, hopefully this is some good stuff for you guys. Let's see here, presenting the offer. Another thing that you can do, and again, this is going to be more if you are not in competing bid situations and things like that. I will sometimes submit a printout of the houses that have sold in the neighborhood that are just like their house, to just say, hey, and here's the houses we looked at to justify the offer price that the buyers are making. And if my offer is higher than those, I'm also providing those, going, this buyer does like the house and sees enough value that they've offered. Hopefully you realize and show your seller that they have offered more than what the homes are selling for in the neighborhood. So let's just say somebody way overprices a house. The houses are really selling about here, and you're going to go, this is the asking price, and you're going to come in to a more realistic price. But because the market's hot and growing and fast, and you're seeing some pendings being here, but they're sitting way out here, I can still get an offer accepted less than asking price if I can convince them that they're probably not going to get another offer higher than ours. Because if they're grossly overpriced, there's nothing that has sold, and the pendings are here and they're way out here by themselves. If you show them that and put that with the cover letter and the offer and say, I'm sure you're aware of some of the recent sales in the neighborhood. I know the market is hot and crazy the way it is. However, even looking at the most recent offers, these are the prices, and the buyer is willing to pay that price. That's the top end of the market right now to make this deal work. They would really like to see your house work out. There's another script. They'd really like to see this one work out. And I would like to, and I would hope that your seller would find this acceptable so they can move on to their next stage of their life. But understand that the buyers were willing to go higher than they were comfortable going based on the most recent activity, just to make sure that the seller would take their offer, right? And maybe it's not even an asking price. So again, we can go through a million different scenarios, but I'm just hoping that you're grasping the concept of what I'm talking about here on selling your offer, solidifying it with statistics and things like that. And another thing too, one other one that we've done where in a crazy market, they were they were accepting offers till Sunday. It was a Friday, and they were accepting offers and they were going to review them on Sunday. And I used the exact same script that I told you, because I want to win. I don't want to just say, okay, we'll submit them on Sunday and go in with everybody else. I'm like, how do I beat this? How do I beat the Sunday? How do I beat out the other offers? So I asked the agent, I said, if they got a super strong offer, a killer offer, would you meet them before Sunday? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I talk to them every day. So, okay, well, I was just curious. But okay, so we submitted an offer and we went. Now, in this particular case, some of our houses in this particular example I'm using were selling for 20 and 30,000 over asking. Buyer was a little frustrated. It was at the beginning of the market getting crazy. So it wasn't the norm, but it was becoming the norm. And they had already seen 2 or 3 houses go for 20,000 over. So the agent says, presenting on Sunday, I say the same thing. If you got a killer offer, a great offer, would you meet the sellers before Sunday? Oh, I'd share them the offer with them. Great. So we write an offer for $12,000 over asking price. So less than what things have been selling for that we've been missing out on, right? 12,000 over asking, but we had it expire on Saturday morning, or I think it was Friday night or something. We got it to him Friday afternoon, whatever it was. I picked a very short window. And I called the agent, said, hey, I am sending you a really good offer. So I hope you can share it with the seller. And if you don't mind, would you mind just working up a net sheet for them and showing them what they would net when this offer comes in, right? And I apologize for the short notice, but there are houses are coming on the market every day, and they are making an offer on the next house that is right for them. And they're not going to wait till Sunday to buy a house. So this house did make their list. I did get them convinced that this was the one that they wanted to write an offer on. So it does expire tonight. So I hope you did say you could get the sellers, they were local, and you would be able to present a really good offer tonight. So it does expire tonight. But they just don't want to miss out on any other houses. We missed out on some already. So missed out on some doesn't mean we wrote offers on some. So again, it's like I can talk pretty vaguely and make it, I want their interpretation on the other end to be whatever they're going to interpret it as, right? But I know what I kind of want them to think about is that they've missed out on many offers. And if this offer is good, you probably should take it tonight because they're going to buy the next one anyway, right? So I don't know if they really want to wait to see if they get any better offers by Sunday. So we went 12,000 over, won the house. And all those agents that were waiting till Sunday or not checking in and not using the tactics that I'm sharing with you today did not even get a shot at the house. Now, if that had happened to me, they would have called me and said, hey, just so you know, you asked me to call you if anything came in earlier, and we do have an offer that just showed up that I'm presenting my seller tonight. It's like, great, I'll get you another one. Can you tell me anything about it? Well, just that it's strong. Okay, that doesn't tell me it's super strong. It tells me it's strong. So it's probably 10,000 is a 50-50 chance, 20,000 is a 75% chance, 30,000 over, you're probably going to get the house. You got a 90% chance. So I'm careful about how I say things, and I don't want to commit things I don't know, but I'm just laying out the description in the way that they're probably perceiving it anyway. So on presenting the offer, receiving the offer, gathering information about the buyer, presenting it to your client, and responding to the offer. So again, you got to change your hat when you're representing a buyer or a seller. You got to change your hat when you're talking to your seller and explain to them that this buyer has written the best offer they're going to get, right? So that if they're doing any immediate snap, like emotional reactions to this offer, you got to calm that down and get them to think it through before they just make a snap decision. So you got to convince them that this is the best offer they're going to get, even though you're representing the seller, because any counter offer they bring back, they could cancel the offer, move on, get their next favorite house, all the things I mentioned before, right? So change those hats and spell it out. I always bring a net sheet to show them what they're going to net. And I actually have that on the top. And I say, now I've got the net sheet figured out for the terms in the offer. We're going to go through the offer, but I want to show you, and I'll turn it around and I'll say, I'll circle the net. This offer, the way it has come in, would make you $157,000. Now, I already know that they wanted 150, but they were going to see if they could get a little bit more. So I already know it's a good offer. If they were, say they had to net 200, and it's coming in at 192, I'm going to say, I would say, now this one's netting you 192, but we'll walk through the offer and I'll show you, oh, we didn't want to take less than 200. No, I know, and we'll talk about all that in the offer. And I'll go through and I'll talk about the terms of the offer. Now, when it comes back to that particular situation, after we go through the offer, we talk and they're asking for a warranty plan and they're asking for some closing costs, and that's what's netting them a little less. Before they might say, well, let's just take the closing cost and the warranty plan out of the offer. I'll go, okay, so just so we understand, any counter offer you make, are you okay losing the buyer? Meaning if I handed you a check right now for $197,000, it's $3,000 short of your 200, but I handed you that check today and said, you are done with the house. Would you be okay with that offer? No, we actually would. Okay, then I want you to consider not countering, because if you take this offer the way it's sitting, you have a $197,000 net. You're getting that check. If we counter because you want to try and get 200 and the buyer walks, you won't get anything. So I need you to be okay with that before we do that. And a lot of times they'll say, no, we definitely want to counter. And I mean, if they walk, they walk. Okay, see, that's on them, not on me. They're making that decision. Hope you guys are enjoying this stuff. So you have a checklist in command for reviewing your offers, right? So, I mean, we've already kind of gone through all this stuff. Make sure everything's correct. It's all filled in. If the agent left things out, you might, if an agent sends you an incomplete contract and is missing a lot of forms, you've got the offer, but now as the listing agent, you can buy yourself some time by calling the agent going, hey, this offer is kind of incomplete. Can you fix those things and get them back to me? All I did was buy time for more showings to happen and to call everybody back that's seen the house. In fact, anytime an agent calls me and says they've got an offer coming over, well, I kind of owe it to my seller to call every single agent that's shown the house and let them know an offer's coming in. But wouldn't you think? I mean, I'm representing the seller as the listing agent, not the buyer. But I also am not going to ignore or delay responding to an offer without talking to the agent. If they put an expiration date on there and I'm stalling because I want to get more offers, that's not a good way to do business. And goes back to the very beginning of the conversation. When agents like you and they trust you and you're not a jerk to them, they will actually love working with you, and you can actually win offers because they know you, they like the way you do things, you make them feel good, you've written them a handwritten note. That alone can get your offers accepted, which is going to benefit your client, right? Your client's going to get the benefit from that. So presenting the offer, I mean, obviously notifying the seller, updating the CMA, which the terms, and so like if you get an offer that's less than asking price, I still have to convince the seller that this may be the best offer they're going to get, even though I'm representing them and even though it's under asking price. Hopefully I didn't tell them that was the price that their house was going to sell for, that we said, here's the range it would sell in, and maybe the offer's less. But now I'm going to show them what has gone under contract since they listed the property, right? And remind them where the sale prices are coming in, that this might be the best offer they're going to get. And then you're going to present the offer, like starting with the net sheet and then going through the terms. And another great script is, I don't want you to react to any of the terms while I'm going through the offer. I just want you to listen first, and we'll talk about anything that you have questions about after. But let's just go through the offer first. Here's where it's netting. Now, what were you concerned about in there? They want us to leave the refrigerator, so we'll start that conversation. And then it's like, I mean, a lot of times when they say we're not leaving our fridge. So if the buyer walked and you don't get this 210,000 when you wanted 200,000, right? You're netting 210, 200 was your bottom line. They're asking for the fridge. If you counter offer and we send that back and another house comes on the market better, or you were their second favorite and they were just seeing if they can make this one work because they really need the fridge, and they walk, are you going to be okay losing that buyer over a refrigerator? Now, I'm working for the seller in this particular story, right? But I want them to say, yes, we'd be okay losing the buyer over fridge. Okay, that way if they do lose the buyer, great. If we keep the buyer on the hook, that's even better, right? Because now they got the fridge back. But so it's just going through and then asking for a decision. I never, ever, ever let a seller reject an offer. I will strongly suggest that you cannot sell your house if you reject an offer. I don't care if you counter them back $100,000 over your asking price. Let's send them something back, because you can't sell your house if you just reject an offer. Okay, responding to the offer. Again, a lot of times it's getting coordinated with the buyer, with the seller, whoever it would be, and those decisions as far as whether they're going to counter, they need to talk about it, all that stuff. Just make sure that you are in absolute communication with the other side, the other agent. If you don't have I mean, always respond when you've received the offer. always respond when you've met with the seller. They're crunching the numbers right now. I know your deadline is 5 o'clock and it's 4:30, but they are really crunching the numbers. Now, I might already have an idea of what they're going to do, but I'm letting the agent know that if it goes past 5, we are like almost there, right? And a lot of times another great script would be, well, I don't want them just to give you a snap counter offer and counter more than they have to. So they're really crunching the numbers. I mean, they're trying to figure out a very fair counter offer. Now, I've also set the other side up that when they get a counter offer from us, we spent a lot of time putting it together so that they're going to go to their buyer and go, hey, this is not just a, what, they want that for their house. That's stupid. And it's like, no, they spent some time. The agent told me they were crunching the numbers and that they were only going to come back with something solid that would make the deal work. So, and then you could even say, hey, in this counter offer, I hope you can explain to your buyers that if there's any way they can make this counter offer work, the house is theirs. I mean, it is theirs. They win, right? If they're not happy with it and they want a counter offer, I mean, I'm still marketing the property. We've got other people that have shown the property. I just don't want you mad at me if another offer shows up and it's better and they take that one instead because your buyer wanted to counter offer something. So why not tell them that? Because now they're on the other side. They're going to go back to their buyer and go, hey, you might not want to counter. He's got activity. He's got somebody else ready to buy the house. I didn't say that, but that's what they heard, right? Because they don't want to miss out on the sale. So we also, in our particular market, we market for backup offers as well. So we want to keep giving our seller as much leverage as possible. So just on responding to the offer, just let them know. I send it to them every form I can through Dotloop, through a PDF in the email. I call the agent. I tell them the offer's in. Call me and let me know that you got it, and so forth, just so there's no issues. All right, so any ahas that you have, you can email me questions about anything through this video if you're watching the video at kornteamkc@gmail.com, or you can call me on my cell phone at 816-215-3214. That's 816-215-3214, or email me at Korn with a K, kornteamkc@gmail.com. All right, I hope you guys had a great class. We had a ton of content in here and we are finishing up right on time. So if you have any questions, make sure you get a hold of me outside the class. We're gonna let you guys go have your evening, and thank you for watching. Really, more congratulations for watching. I hope you got some good notes. I hope you will post what you got out of the class. And actually, there is if you're watching this even on video, if you will go to the survey, just missed it. If you will go to the survey here, I don't know if you can copy and paste from the screen, but just jot this down real quick. The Survey Monkey /R/FC57DM7. Click on that and put in there that we were on elements number 6 was the session, Make and Receive Offers with Brad Korn, Korn. And just jot in there some comments about what you took away from the class, what you thought of it, especially if it's good. We like good feedback. Whoop. And all right, guys, have a great day.